Hey, everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm one of the hosts, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Frank should be joining us momentarily. So, per usual, we'll wait for him and hold down the fort till he gets here. This is the show we talk about Boston sports. We talk about the Patriots, the Celtics, the Bruins, and the Red Sox, and get you guys all caught up to speed on the goings on of the local four here. We have a lot to talk about. Uh, so give me a chance to post the link so you guys can join the show, and then we'll get things started. Um, we're going to start with the Bruins, even though they're not playing and there's no real news coming from them. There is something we need to mention today. Dylan Larkin, who is the captain of the Detroit Red Wings, has requested a trade. And he's a damn good player. He's been a 30-goal scorer each of the last 5 years. He's definitely somebody the Bruins could use. And the question is, what will we have to give up to get him? Because this particular year, the Bruins did not have a captain. They had drawing a blank. Sorry, they had McAvoy and Pasternak share the captaincy this year. They had alternate A's on their jerseys, and one of the things that's been mentioned and beat to death to an extent is how they didn't have a captain and they didn't have a Chara or a Bergeron in the dressing room to lean on, and that it was sorely needed for them to get a guy that's like that. I don't disagree. I originally had thought that maybe McAvoy would be that guy. Turns out not to be the case. You want to have a guy that's a proven guy. This guy has 5 years left on his contract. He's 29 years old. I think it's $8.7 million a year. And as I posted on our page, do not start with the trade Elias Lindholm away just because he's been kind of a bust. No one's going to trade for him. The Bruins are kind of stuck with that contract. Even though it would be nice to get him off the books, the Bruins would have to eat minimum half his salary if they could trade him away. That's just my guess. They would have to trade somebody like McAvoy or Geeky, in my opinion, somebody like that caliber of a guy. I don't want to trade either one of those guys, or they could trade Swayman. Nobody's going to want to trade him. I would not be opposed to that if they thought that they could make it work. So we'll put a poll question this week as to who you guys think could be or should be traded for him. The other thing is, it's highly unlikely that he will be traded to the Bruins because typically trades within your own division don't happen. I know the Bruins got lucky and they traded Brandon Carlo to the Maple Leafs and they got Fraser Minton as part of that deal. And the Leafs are probably kicking the hell out of themselves. That's part of the reason you don't make deals like that, so you don't improve your competition in your own division. Again, not that it can't happen, but the likelihood is like slim. If you was to put a number on it right now, what percent that the Bruins would get Dylan Larkin be like 1 or 2% tops, I think. And if they're smart, they'd trade him to the other conference where he can't do that much damage. So it's very interesting to see him ask for a trade. He has a full no trade clause, so he would have to approve any trade that he wants. Frankie, The mascots are at it again. Sorry. Um, you know, and so he has to approve any trade. And I'm not sure if Jeremy Swayman's no trade clause has kicked in yet. If it hasn't, I'd trade him and swap the money and make the money work, right? And then bring up DiPietro because I want DiPietro here anyway. And I acknowledge that Jeremy Swayman had a good year this year, far better than last year. But you know, I hate the no trade clause thing, and they're all getting them, and it's driving me nuts. Um, you know, the owners are somehow going to have to figure out how to not make these. There has to be, I know they have full no trade clause for the first like 4 years or whatever it is, and then the next couple years it's a limited amount of teams. It's like half the teams, and then a couple years after that, the number goes down to like 8 teams that they have no trade to, or whatever. But I just think that hampers teams from being able to move good players. This to me, Dylan Larkin asking for a trade, that's an exception. Hockey players don't typically ask to be traded. Not like the NBA. The NBA is full of those guys. They're all they want to do is move from one team to another as soon as they're dissatisfied with the coach or anything that's not in their wheelhouse that they don't like. They either get the coach fired or they ask for a trade. And I can't stand that. So, in the NHL, they're getting more of the no trade clause things, and it's driving me nuts. So, again, I don't know what percent the Bruins could actually pull a trade off for this guy in their own division. Like I said, I give a 1 or 2% chance, but he's a damn good player. He's a 30-goal scorer. He's been a 30-goal scorer for the last 5 years, as I mentioned earlier, and he's a captain, and they need leadership on the Bruins. And this is a guy I would love to see them get if the price was right. So having said all that, it looks like Frank is here. So let's bring him in. Frank, how you doing?
Hey, Steve, how you doing? How's everything?
I'm good.
I see you with your hat on, your Steve Austin hat, huh? No comment.
I have no comment. Frank's giving me a little ribbing after he and I met over the weekend, and he's laughing at my hat then, and he's laughing at it now, and he's probably going to keep laughing at it every week. But the hat fits.
Because looking at you, you don't look like the type of guy who wants to body slam somebody. You just don't look like that guy. You know what I mean? But
the old Bugs Bunny, you don't know me very well, do you? I might not be physically able to body slam, buddy, but that doesn't mean I don't want to.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you don't want to watch somebody get body slammed either. So
no, well, listen, the wrestling is a completely separate issue, but I'm enjoying my limited fame, if you will, only because I look like him from the neck up.
Limited fame. A lot of comedy here. All right, are we ready to talk about the Patriots now? What, we ready to do?
Yeah, let's move on from the Patriots. I think I beat this dead horse already. We don't need that anymore. Let's before we move to as we move to the Patriots, though, I do want to mention this really quick. Former Patriot head coach Van Berry passed away at 93.
Yeah.
I thought he was a great coach for the time he was here. Led the Patriots to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I thought he was good, and we just want to give him some due. And RIP. And people underestimate how good he was as a wide receiver back in his time.
Right.
He was in the top 5 or 10 easily in receptions, yards, touchdowns. He was with the Colts when they were winning championships. He was part of that. So,
and he was a good coach too. He was a good coach.
He was a good coach for the Patriots. They at a time they needed it.
Yeah.
And that was right after the Ron Meyer debacle. So he came in at the right time and kind of righted the ship.
Yeah, because we couldn't get Ron Meyer out of here fast enough. Remember that?
You ain't kidding. You are not kidding.
Don't hit the. What do they say? Don't hit the.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you. That's what they did.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Never heard that before. Don't let.
No, I have not.
Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you. That's what we always say.
All right. Now that we've done that, let's move on to this.
Yeah, I know. Huh? We've been talking about this since what, February?
Yep.
March easily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much more I could say about that except to say, I don't know. What do you? Before I say my piece, I'm not that happy. I'm not the happiest about it. But I do think the Patriots have one of the deepest wide receiver rooms in the league. I do think it helps the Patriots. Obviously, their schedule is going to be tough. Their schedule is going to be tough. And if the Patriots can run the ball and now they can throw the ball, they should still beat a lot of people, no matter how tough they're. But before I dive into all that, my thoughts. What were you? Were you happy? Were you one of those people? Because this is what, Steve. This is funny. I know some people who didn't want it to happen, and then once it happened, they were excited. You know what I mean? They were happy. Where are you at? I'm like that.
So as I have stated on here many times, I hate the diva wide receivers.
Yeah,
I don't like them.
Yeah.
They're a pain in the ass. But every team has them, and the teams that are really good have them. And if you want to be really good, you have to take a chance. Last year we had Steph Diggs, who forced his way out of Minnesota. He forced his way out of Buffalo. He was a model Patriot to an extent here last year. Did a great job, I thought. But they couldn't bring the old gang back, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so, A.J. Brown is an improvement. And they needed to improve because you have a window now where Drake May is in his rookie contract. And, I like the deal. I like the deal because he's a top wide receiver. He's a top 10 guy easy. And, it makes the team better. And I agree with you. The wide receiver room is deep. And you just can't – the success that they had last year, obviously everybody talks about how easy the schedule was and whatnot. And I hate that argument because you still have to play those games. They still had to prove themselves. They were not a 14-win team out of the gate. But this, I thought they were already going to be a 10 or 11-win team, and they still should be as long as he's healthy. I do like the move, and then we can talk about what they gave up after you've had a chance to say your thoughts.
Well, my initial thoughts are, I looked at it, besides the fact about his personality-wise, I looked at the thoughts. My thoughts were on how he fits into what they're trying to do. Now, we remember how they were trying to play last year with Josh McDaniels and everything else. They ended up getting a fullback this season. And that tells me that they want to run the ball, and they want to run the ball down your throat. Now, if you come up and you try to stack the box to stop the run, they can now throw the ball. And they have two competent and confident wide receivers in Romeo Doubs and A.J. Brown. Nobody's talking about Romeo Doubs either. But Romeo Doubs with A.J. Brown, with everybody else we already have, makes our offense stacked. You know what I mean? Like they should be able to move the ball. And on top of being able to move the ball, they should be able to score on anybody with the way it's set up now. Because, again, they're bringing back the running backs they already had. They added a fullback. And they added two, not one, they added two stellar wide receivers. I think they looked at their schedule and said, we have to definitely score. We have to be able to run the ball to score. And if somebody tries to stop us on the run, we can throw the ball. If somebody tries to stop us throwing the ball, we can run the ball. No matter. So you want them to be able, people on the defense to be able to try to figure out what they have to stop all the time versus a team that can only run or a team that can only throw. You know what I mean? You want the defense always to be on their heels. And I think right now, the Patriots have added that. But also, Scott Zolak reported today on the radio in Boston that he said that the Patriots aren't done. He said that he heard that the Patriots are going to get one more wide receiver. He didn't want to say any names, but he did say, don't throw your jerseys away. And I think he was alluding to this Patriots bringing back Steph Diggs. So if that does happen, oh my God. I mean, oh my God, that could be the Patriots all over again in 2007. You know what I mean? Remember that year where we had a phenomenal offense and the defense was okay. And Steve, the defense is mostly, all those guys are mostly coming back. I don't want to say we're going to have a 2007 season again, what was it, 16, 17, 18 and 0. I don't want to say that again. But I will say, I think we're going to be definitely I think you can lock us in for at least 14 wins. You know what I mean? That's what I think you can do.
Frank, think about this for a second. They were a top 5 offense last year, 28 points a game.
Right.
and now you added they had Steph Diggs and Keyshawn Boutte on the outside, and now you have AJ Brown and Dobbs, which is better. So
Yeah.
they should be near 30 points a game easily
Yeah. Yeah.
this year, right? Especially with the way they added the fullback so they can run the ball better and all that. Their offense should be just like the Patriots, Colts from 2006, 7, and again, they're not going to put up, they're not going to be 18-0, blah blah whatever, but they should have a very good year as long as everybody's healthy. They improved the offensive line. People are not talking about that. The guys around here are still like, yeah, they signed Vera Tucker for left guard, but he's an injury risk. And everybody's an injury risk. I mean, the Patriots got lucky last year and didn't have a lot of injuries, but everybody they signed is an injury risk. That's the way football is. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there's some teams, as you know, because we discussed it on your other show, where guys have already been hurt in OTAs and tore their ACL. You don't see that coming. Yeah, so I'm not worried that, Vera Tucker might get hurt. Their offensive line is already better on paper, in my opinion. You improved in two key areas.
Yeah, and I'm praying that this isn't an injury prone because that tight end got injured on the first day of OTAs. I
know. That's exactly what I was trying to get at, right? We lost our tight end that we signed from Miami. Yeah. Who was the blocking tight end, and now they don't have that.
Yeah, so it's a little concern there. But since he's on the injured list now, they can go out and get somebody else. I just don't know who else is out there and available, for them to be able to get, But I'm sure they're gonna get somebody off a scrap heap or somebody who's maybe not be as good as, but maybe they could get somebody, because all you need is somebody to block, and that's what they got the fullback for. But I was thinking with the fullback and the tight end that they signed, they will definitely be able to run the ball. But now they have to get somebody to be able to be somewhat competent to be able to be a tight end to help block. Because I said this before at the end of last season, that their number one mission is going to be able to run the ball, because they want to get a lead ahead, get ahead in a game, and run the ball to kill the clock. Oh, that's the old formula to win any football game. You get up by 14, and when you get the ball back again, keep running the ball, and then score again. And next thing you know, you had the ball for the whole quarter. You know what I mean? So I think that's what they're going to do. I don't know. But there's another thing that I wanted to bring up too. Looking at the time, one thing I wanted to bring up too is no one's talking about the defensive end that the Patriots should be thinking about trying to get. And I'm hoping that they make a trade because there's no more free agents out there to get. I'm hoping that maybe they make a trade, or maybe they get somewhat of a person out there who's a compatible, or somebody, maybe somebody who's, maybe somebody who wasn't, drafted. Maybe they get somebody, they get a look at, to be a defensive end. They need a defensive end because they need their rush to be really, really well. Because God forbid, let's just say they end up in the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? And we have the same issue that we had again because we didn't have a great defense. And I'm telling you now, Steve, if that kid comes back on the Rams, I think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl regardless, just by adding Myles Garrett. I think they're locked in for the Super Bowl, and if they get with Myles Garrett, Myles Garrett trade, if they ended up getting, and I forgot his name, I can't think of
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, if Aaron Donald ends up signing, and I saw a report today, actually I saw 4 or 5 of them. He's been training anyway for the last couple of years and been training with college kids anyway for the last couple. So he's already in game shape. If they end up getting Aaron Donald and him, thank you. They're already a definite lock in for the Super Bowl. They like that's almost, and you almost can say that they'll lock in to win the Super Bowl with him and Aaron, because I don't know how you stop that defense. I don't know.
I don't either. Think about it. The Patriots improved the offensive line based on getting beat by Seattle, their defensive line, torching us. And now, let's say they make it there and they improve the offensive line. Now you have to face Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald. I mean, you just faced the gauntlet last year. Now you got to face another gauntlet. Good luck with that.
Right.
Right. So, listen, they got to get there first. Frank, the defense that they would have with those two guys, I'm not saying that they would pitch, shutouts every game, but they'll give up low teens. They'll give up 13 points a game, 12 points a game. It won't be 21 or 24 points a game. No one's going to score on them. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, and they're going to be playing from always ahead. You know what I mean? Yeah, and when you're always ahead, you put your
which
ear
means
back.
the other team is one-dimensional and they have to throw the ball a lot, which leads to turnovers.
And you know what that happens. Then those guys could pin their ears back, and now they're going to get more sacks, and it's going to be incredible. If they get Aaron Donald back. If they don't get Aaron Donald back, you still have a chance. You can still double up like most teams are doing anyway. But what people aren't talking about either is the Rams already had a stellar defense anyway without him. You know what I mean? Without him, they already had a stellar defense because a couple of those other guys are already great too. Now you make those other guys even better because you free up the other guys on the end because you're too busy double teaming Myles Garrett. And you know what that means? The Rams already made their defense better in Seattle, which I don't know how you did that. But they're better, and they're locking for the Super Bowl. So
they signed a top cornerback too. People forget.
Yeah.
So they got a cornerback and they got Myles Garrett. So they're already improved from what they did last year. And I think Seattle might take a step down because they lost too many guys.
You have to forgive me. I'm starving, and my wife brought me supper, so she's mad at me because I'm doing the show. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm still talking.
That's all right, Frank. No worries. Hey, listen, if I can have one of these every once in a while, you can certainly have your dinner.
Yeah. So anyway, my thoughts is literally on the Patriots being able to. I think they're a better team. Their schedule is going to be harder regardless. I don't think anybody's going to lock them in to get to the Super Bowl just yet. But I will say, for the record, I think that the Patriots are going to be a pretty good team heading into that. I don't want to say they're going to the Super Bowl just yet. I want to see them play. I don't want my fandom to get in the way. I want to see them play. But signing and getting a wide receiver, you just are able to now unlock Drake May with one of his strongest skills, and it's the deep ball. People aren't talking about that. Drake May has a hell of an arm, and he never had wide receivers that can catch up. I mean, he had a couple, but they always couldn't catch. Like he overthrew several people several times last year. Now he can just throw it up, and he has a wide receiver who can actually go get it. There's a difference. You know what I mean?
Realize last year he had the most 20-yard completions out of all the quarterbacks because of his arm. And him and Booty, they have a rapport together, and so he might not be around anymore. Would you want the Patriots to sign Diggs? Because I think Booty's gone anyway. I think they're going to trade him because they can't have. You already have Dobbs and AJ Brown. So what would that look like though when you have two alphas in the dressing room like that? When you have Diggs and AJ Brown?
I think it'll be amazing because when they double team AJ, Steph is open. When you double team Steph, depending on who's having a good day, and I think they both want to win. You know what I mean? Steph wants to win more than, and I think Steph, since he's older, I think he's going to be the top alpha in the room, and I think he's going to be just like he was last year. You know what I mean? Because he's always here if he comes. But let's just talk about the team as is without Steph. Without Steph, AJ Brown now is the alpha. He wants to win very badly because he won already a Super Bowl, but he never won a Super Bowl as a New England Patriot. And I think that's probably his biggest thing that he wants to be able to say. He won a Super Bowl as a Patriot. You know what I mean? I think that means more to him than his Super Bowl would if he won as a Philadelphia Eagle, in my opinion.
And I can't believe for a guy that came from Mississippi and is a Patriots fan and wanted to play here and was upset that he didn't get drafted by the Patriots when Belichick took N'Keal Harry. That whole story just is mind-blowing to me. And for him to finally get, his wish and come here and so forth. Listen, hopefully, he won't have the attitude issues that he had in Philly. There was a lot of dysfunction there. He wasn't happy with Jalen Hurts. He wasn't happy with the coach.
But he was trying to get out. He was trying to get out of Philly anyway.
He was trying to get out of Philly, and this is one of the things we talk about in the NBA when the guys try to force their way out. And listen, it happens in the NFL too. Stephon Diggs is a perfect example of that already twice. Right. When they want to force their way out, they will. And good for the Patriots. They haven't really had a guy like this since Randy Moss, if you think about it.
Right.
So I think it's huge for them. And listen, again, I hate the diva wide receivers, but you need them. You don't have a choice. Every team has them. You can't match firepower with Minnesota, who has Justin Jefferson, and Cincinnati, who has Chase. They have Chase and what's the other guys there? The two guys they have. Like you have to match. You have to match now. Last year they did good, but this year they have to elevate another notch. This definitely gives them another notch. So I'm happy with the acquisition. Now let's talk about what they gave up while you're doing your thing there. They gave up, just so everybody knows, they gave up a 2028 first round pick and a 2027 fifth round pick Do you think it was too much?
Mm.
Because I don't. Because it was a 2028 first rounder, not 2027.
This is what I think. I purposely think that it might be too much, but it depends on where their need is. You know what I mean? For right now, it looks like it could be too much. But as it goes along, and the Patriots make more deals, they might even are able to get more draft picks that are higher by the time 2027 and 2028 roll around. So they might be able to do that because you still wheel and deal. But right now, I'm a little nervous about it because you don't know what you're going to need. And that's the part that scares me. You don't know what you're going to need when you roll around. And right now, I'm a little concerned because who knows how AJ Brown is going to turn out? You don't know. And it's the mystery about it that concerns me. That's where I'm at. Where are you at with this?
My thought is if you're good for the next 2 years and you're picking near the bottom and you're picking 25th or 28th, those picks don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they're complete trash, but it's different when you win 4 games and you're picking 4th and you gave away one of those picks versus giving away a lower end pick. I'm expecting them to be good next year so that in 2027 too, so that in 2028 that pick should be 28th or whatever. It shouldn't have an impact, we hope. Right? So that's my thought on it. When the Patriots were really good and Belichick was good and we got mad at him for trading away the draft picks all the time, they were picking near the bottom every year, and he was just like, you know what is this worth? Right? What are they gonna get? So I'm not upset that they gave a 2028 first round pick. If they gave up a 2027 first round pick, I'd be mad because then to me you're giving up too much for a guy that's a little older and we're not sure how long he's going to last. He could be gone after 1 year. I hope that's not the case because the way these guys operate, they want the ball and they get dissatisfied. And, if he has a good year, it'll be fine. If he doesn't and he doesn't get the ball, then the next year he might not be here. So I don't know. I'm not worried about it. There's a thing where they were playing it safe for too long. And that 2007 year, they went for it and they got all these guys. And this is what they did. They were aggressive, and I'm happy they were aggressive. Let's put it that way.
And they made history. They made history
then, but right now they needed to be aggressive again. Like there was a little bit of a lull. Belichick kind of, I think, sabotaged the team the way he was building it. No wide receivers, no offensive line. He was mad at the Crafts. And if he was really intent on beating Schuler's record, he wouldn't have built the team that way. And so there was a void there. And, they weren't really as aggressive as they could have been. And so now they were aggressive. And so I'm happy about the move.
Well, I'll say this. They definitely going for it while Drake May's on that rookie contract because when his turn comes back around, you got to pay, you know what I mean? And
they also have to pay Gonzalez, which is another thing that no one's talking about. Well, they're talking about it, but there's a debate about whether they should trade him or not. I don't want them to trade him. When you get a guy like that, and you got a guy that's basically for this generation, Ty Law, Darrell Revis, Stephon Gilmore, and you have that guy in-house, you got him in the draft, you developed him, and he's a top guy. And we saw the difference last year when he missed the early part of the year, what the defense looked like versus the second part of the year and the Super Bowl. He was the best player in the Super Bowl. Those guys don't grow on trees. Sauce Gardner gets brought up a lot. I would not want to see them trade him. I want to see him signed. And that only makes their team that much better this year and going forward. And then, people are talking about, well, then you have to sign Drake May and the salary cap and this and that. You know what? Carlton Davis on the other side makes 20-something million a year. He's an older guy. Maybe next year he gets cut. You can't. I understand you can't sign everybody, but there's guys that contracts are going to come up, and it's Carlton Davis and it's Christian Barmore. He's on his last year. There's 12 million there, and there's another guy who's escaping me right now, Michael Owenu. He just restructured his contract, and he's only making like 12 or 13. So there's money that can be freed up to sign both guys coming up.
Yeah,
if people want to really dive into it and nitpick every move, they're going to be able to do it
sooner or later. Yeah, they'll be able to do it, and you want to be able to make it work, and you don't want any guys to get disgruntled either. But
correct.
That's what we are. All right, so keep moving. Let's keep it moving.
You want to do Red Sox next or Celtics?
Up to you.
Let's do the Red Sox because I have a lot to say about these bums. Sorry, I'm not trying to make you choke, but the Ocean State job lot effect is now not just the players that they're getting. It's the actual front office, and I want to talk about some of the things, and I'm sure you heard everything. So I'll talk while you do your thing there. Listen, they've butchered the Roman Anthony injury thing. They came out and said it was a sprained wrist. Then they changed it to there was something wrong with his thumb. Now it's not his thumb. Now it's the index. The bottom of his index finger has a sprained ligament, and the front office people are saying that the manager's calling him out, and they're saying, and Sam Kennedy came out, and they're like, nope, it's not torn. There's nothing wrong. And then Roman Anthony came out to talk to Rob Bradford from WEEI and said, no, it's torn. I can't swing a bat. So they had him hitting off the tee with a freaking wiffle ball bat, and he had to quit. And so you want to talk about pissing off your number one guy already and mishandling. They mishandled Mookie Betts, obvious, right? Stating the obvious. They mishandled Devers last year. They mishandled Bregman trying to get him back. They've mishandled this. The training staff, it always seems like for some reason the players and the training staff are never on the same page. They're always doing this. I don't know how they freaking do it. I don't know what the issue is, but I have other guys I want to talk about, but I want to get your thoughts on the Roman Anthony thing before we move on to the next bunch of Ocean State job lot bums I want to talk about.
Well, I honestly, I don't know who to believe. I don't know what to believe. I've heard all the reports on this in the last week and a half and everything else. I really sat there and thought about how bad this organization is from top to bottom. And then I heard Theo say what he said, Theo Epstein say what he said. And I think Theo was leaning into something that is going to probably create a huge stink around here, by saying what he said. Because honestly, he didn't lie. It's nothing he said that was lied about. But it's right now, it's like the Spider-Man cartoon. Everybody pointing fingers. You know what I mean? Everybody's
I know.
And because I'm not involved with the Red Sox, I'm only going by what I hear. I don't know who's the fault and who's to blame. I don't even know if it's the player, because the player seems like he really doesn't want to play here. You know what I mean? He's tried his best, because let's put it. Let's be honest. If they were in a playoff chase and it's towards the end of the season right now, would he be playing? That's how you know how bad this injury really is. You know what I mean? If we're going for the AL East and it's one game in, one game out, and he's the best hitter and he's the best player on the team, is he playing? I don't know if I can answer that, because I don't know how bad the injury really is. I'm not him, but I think since the team is one of the worst it's ever been, you know what I mean? And maybe he doesn't want to play for the Red Sox. Maybe he wants out, and maybe he's hearing the words that people are saying that he's going to be the one to be traded. Because on all these sports talk stations, they're talking about trading him every day, all day. You hear it all day. You know what I mean? We should trade him. We should trade it. We should trade him. Maybe one or two guys are saying not trade him, but everybody's talking about trading him. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying not trade him. I mean, he's supposed to be he was the number one prospect in the organization. You gave him all that money. He's your number one guy. Now, listen, I understand that there's some guys that are soft, that can't play through pain or won't play through pain. But if you're him, you're looking at it to your point. We're in last place. We're not going anywhere. What the F am I killing myself for? I'm gonna risk making the injury worse for you bums because you can't build the team right. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna wait till I'm 100% and come back, and then put up numbers, and then we'll move on. I mean, I'm thinking that's his headspace right now, and they're putting words out there that he doesn't agree with, which is why he went to where he went and said, nope, it's torn. And so there's a constant one of these with the front office, the medical staff, the players. It never ends. I don't know how they fix it.
He wants to be loved by the fan base, though. So that's what I think he's trying to make sure he lets the fan base, like, no, it's not me, it's them. I think that's what he's trying to do. And I agree
with him. I think it's them. I think it's them.
Yeah, but he just wants to make sure that it's not me. You know what I mean?
So the only way he can get that back, Frank, is by getting in the lineup and hitting 300 and do some damage, right?
Right.
So he has a chance. He'll have a chance when he comes back to do that, and I hope he does, because I don't want to see them get rid of him, because they've already boo-booed some of the trades that they've made, and guys are already putting up huge numbers. That we're getting into. Oh, this stupid thing keeps messing me up here. Hold on, let me do this. I gotta fix my notes here. Hold on. And then we all set with Anthony, because I'm going to move on to the next guy.
Yeah, go on. Let's go.
Caleb Durbin, who they got in the from Milwaukee, right? Here's a guy that was hitting a freaking $147, right? Couldn't bat at my weight, your weight, or anybody else's weight.
Shoot, my kids can bat better than him, but anyway.
So apparently he went to this place called Greatham G Swing something or other
Mm-hmm.
outside the organization. They're on the North Shore somewhere. I forget where they are. But he went there to get help to fix his swing. He finally said, enough of you analytic nerd nonsense. I'm
Mm-hmm.
done with this. I'm going over here. I'm going to get these guys to fix my swing. In the last week, he's hitting like 400.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this tells me, and this is, I'm wondering if this is going to cause another ripple. Remember when Mac Jones went behind Bill Belichick's back to get help outside the organization? I'm wondering if this is going to be kind of the same thing. And they're going to give him a pee-pee slap and say, nope, you can't do that. You got to listen to these guys over here because they got all the numbers. And if I was him, I'd be pissed because, you're ruining the guy's career. You're messing him up. And these nerd guys with all these numbers and analytics and all this crap is wrecking the team. They don't know how to hit. They don't know the strike zone. They swing at bad pitches. All this launch angle nonsense.
You're messing.
So I don't blame him.
But you're messing up his money because when he comes back around for another contract, if you're batting almost 400, you're getting paid a whole lot more than if you're batting 100 and 125.
I just think, too, that the criticism that he's getting around here is unfair to an extent because it's not his fault that the guys that are the eyeballs that are the scouts and the front office people that say, okay, we're going to take this guy and turn him from a single and double hitter and try to get him to swing and use the wall and hit home runs. And that's not what he is. And so I blame them because they're not using the eyeball test. They're using all the numbers, the analytics. That's wrong. You're wrecking these guys. And when Bregman was here last year, I'm pretty sure that he probably poo-pooed a lot of that stuff. Remember how bad Trevor Story was at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
And then he got on a hot streak. And he credited Bregman for helping him. Hey, saw this. Oh, tweak this. But nothing to do with numbers and spreadsheets and all that nonsense with these guys, giving these guys all this crap. There's no eyeball test anymore. All these teams that want to use like projections and all this crap, they're taking the human element out. And NFL's doing the same thing with the going for it on fourth down. They don't look at situations. They don't look at, anything that's supposed to be like a certain circumstance. Like they're not taking anything into account. And so that's the problem why these guys like Christian Campbell last year.
Right.
Rookie of the year for April. After that, all downhill. He's in Worcester. He's still in Worcester. He's going to stay there because they don't know what they're doing. They really don't.
Well, Theo Epstein coined it perfectly. He said these guys are going too much in the analytics, and he wish he had known doing what he was doing would get it to this point. But Theo, you started it. You started it.
He started it. But see, the thing is, the A's with Billy Beane that really started that.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah,
analytics, right?
Yeah.
And Theo used it, but there was a balance there. There's like a human element. There's like, okay, yes, we're going to give you guys some data, but also you have the hitting coach and the pitching coach and these guys to coach. All right, David Ortiz. I'll just use him, right? If he was in a slump, you had the coach could go over and work with him and do some stuff, not just look at a sheet and be like, oh, here, do this. Like that, it doesn't work. And more teams are using that stuff. And I watch guys when they swing at bad pitches that curve and almost hit them in the feet, and they still swing at it. And it's not just the Red Sox. It's everywhere. And I'm looking at these guys going, you need to bring your 9-iron to the plate because you don't know the strike zone. It's awful. And it's very frustrating. So I just wanted to we should be watching Caleb Durbin over the next week or so, because if he's still hitting the way he's hitting, he's using the G swing stuff. If he goes back to hitting 140, that means the ownership went to him, or Craig Breslow or whoever the front office nerds are went to him and said, nope, you got to do it this way. And I hate that. We talked about this before when Jim Rice basically got chastised for trying to help one of the players went and sought his help. The guy's a Hall of Famer. Oh no, we don't do it that way. F you.
I would have still did it myself. We might not, but
here's a case in point. That guy that went to Jim Rice got slapped and said, no, we don't do it that way. But here's a new guy that played in Milwaukee last year that was the rookie of the year. And he basically said, F you, I'm going to G swing, and you guys can take those stats and throw them away on the analytics and throw them in the garbage. And I don't blame him.
I don't either.
I mean, the guy's trying to be good and make a living, and I hope more guys do that. I hope that before I get to the last guy I want to talk about, I hope they start backing off a little bit and letting the players fix more. Duran, perfect example too. I'm almost positive he stopped looking at the data and started fixing his swing. He started lifting his foot up and so forth. 9 home runs in the month of May. Bring the human element back in the game. You can't sit there and say that it was Alex Cora's fault or this and that. They weren't giving him the right. The Alex Cora. Listen, and this has happened with Alex Cora, and it has happened with Chad Tracy as the manager. They go in spurts. They strike out 11, 12, 13 times in a game. Then they get like 2 or 3 games where they hit doubles and they get 8 runs in a game. Then they revert right back to the same crap because the analytic idiots get all happy. Oh, you're finally hitting here. Okay, here's this shit again. Excuse my French. Right? And then it reverts right back and they strike out 12 times in a game. It's like there's no happy medium.
Because mathematically, that's what happens. This is in life. And the math will always tell you you're gonna get a hit and get what you got to do eventually. You're not gonna your stats not gonna be 0 across the board. You know what I mean? Eventually you're gonna hit. Eventually you're gonna get what you need to get. But it's gonna take some time. But how long do you keep going that route?
I was gonna say you can't wait until September. It's too late then.
Listen,
you got to fix it now. It should have been fixed 2 months ago.
You're talking to the choir. You're preaching to the choir.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more guy. I'm sure you heard about this too. And then I have one more thing after this. Where is my guy? Isaiah Kinner-Falefa talking about. You never heard of him?
I'm not familiar.
You didn't hear about this?
No, I don't think so. Keep going.
This is priceless. All right, so he's the new utility guy that they signed in the offseason. They're paying him $6 million. He's a journeyman. He's a Gold Glove third baseman. He's played third, short, and second this year so far. So he can play. He's hitting 280 or 290 right now. Started off slow, right? Well, he said that he made a comment. Somebody asked him something. And he said, I feel we're a very close-knit team on the road. We come home, there's just a lot of people. It's different. There's a different vibe. We have to figure out a way to make it small, like how it is on the road. I just feel like at home we see a lot of people we don't know that are around this area. And then they tried to backtrack it. The manager came out and said he's not wrong. And what he's saying is there's a lot more going on here. There's a lot more media. There's a lot more people on the field. There's people with his rehabs, blah, blah. So they tried to put a Band-Aid on it. And I think what he was getting at is the analytics guys and the young guys maybe not really acting professional, and they have like posses or entourages or people around the ballpark waiting for them after the games.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you're losing. You don't want to come together as a team. You go in your separate groups and you all spread out. That's what happens with every losing team, and that's exactly what they're doing.
This reminds me of the old Red Sox 25 guys, 25 cabs. Remember that?
Yeah,
from the 80s, right?
I hate to interrupt, but looking at the time, there's a new news alert. The Red Sox have sent down Brian Bello to AAA Worcester. Yeah. Just the alert just came through. Red Sox have reportedly sent right-handed pitcher Brian Bello down to AAA Worcester.
Do you know why?
Brian Bello is fed up with the talk about potential move to the bullpen.
Is that what it says?
That's what it says.
Really? Well, listen, that's not the issue. The issue is he's been sucking badly. So when he starts the game, his ERA is almost 10. He started the game today, and in the first inning, he gave up 6 runs. When he has that guy open the game for him and the guy pitches the first inning or two, he can come in and he's pitching 5 innings of shutout ball. His ERA as the second guy coming in is 0.71. He can't start games and he can't get his head right. So they had to send him to Worcester. You can't just let him keep failing. They need him as a starter. But if it was me, and I said this earlier, and I think I said it last week too, if I was them, I wouldn't send him to Worcester. I would call up Pedro Martinez and I would say, please take this guy to the Dominican Republic and go sit under a mango tree and help fix him, because he is freaking broken.
That's so racist.
No, you don't understand. The story is Pedro, as a kid, would sit under the mango tree.
I know, but that sounds so racist. I know.
Listen, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying that they're both Dominican. Put him. This is where I get frustrated. Where Jason Veritek, Jim Rice, Pedro, maybe even David Ortiz, the guys are supposed to be welcome to help tutor the young guys and give them the pros and tips and how to fix them as major league players. Not welcome. Their tutelage is not welcome. That aggravates the hell out of me. If it was me, I would have called up Pedro and said, please take this guy and go work with him and help fix him. And if that doesn't work, then send him to the scrap heap. Now, he doesn't want to go to the bullpen. Well, too freaking bad, dude. You suck. You don't have a choice. You have two choices. Go to the bullpen or stay in AAA. Take your pick. You know what I'm saying? He's been horrible this year. Now, last year he was good to a point, but every time something bad happens, he unravels, and it's getting worse. And I said this too. Remember Troy O'Leary was having a mental issue back in the day? They put him on the DL for a couple of weeks. He came back. He was fine. Put him on the DL for 2 weeks. Let him fix his head. Have him come back. That's what they got to do. So I'm not upset.
You know what he needs? He needs a psychiatrist more than anything. That's what he needs because he gets in his own.
Yeah, exactly. And they have them. I'm sure all the sports teams have them now. They never had them back in the day in the 70s. Nobody was talking about that, but everybody has them now. Yeah. It's a no-brainer. So, I just think that, between the Roman Anthony thing, the Caleb Durbin thing, the Isaiah Kanifa-Leffa thing, Brian Bayo, the whole Cora getting fired, the new guy. Listen, this is what I want to happen. I want Sam Kennedy to be fired. I want John Henry to put Theo as the president, and I want him to bring back Alex Cora as the GM.
What is Theo doing now? Is Theo with the Red Sox right now?
He's part of the Fenway Sports Group, and he's there as like for tutelage or whatever. He's not he doesn't. I don't think he wants to be the day-to-day. As the president, he wouldn't have to be the day-to-day. You get a GM in there, let the GM be the day-to-day, but make him the president, make him the face, and stop lying to everybody with Sam Kennedy and freaking gaslighting the whole fan base. I'm tired of him already. And get some stability back in the franchise and blow all these analytic idiots out of here. And let's get back. And listen, Alex Cora wants to be a front office guy. I would bring him back as the GM if that's what you want to do. Because I don't want to see him go manage another team and beat the Red Sox and win the World Series.
Well, that's what's about to happen. But
I know.
Brace yourself. Honestly, whoever team he goes to, if they face the Red Sox, I'm rooting for him. I'm just being honest.
I'm with you, Frank. I've said this, and I'll say it every week because I'm so pissed off at this team. I had this team as a 92-win team.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Right? So I am actively rooting for them to lose and stay in the basement. I don't care anymore. I'm so aggravated with this whole thing. The people are chanting "sell the team." They're wearing bags on their head, but they're not allowed to anymore. And the ballpark is being filled with opposing teams' fans again, which John Henry doesn't like. Even though they sell the tickets, he probably doesn't care about that. They get the money, but it is not a good feeling for him to sit in his own ballpark and get booed and have the opposing teams filling 40% of the ballpark. It's just can't be a good feeling for him. So he's going to have another moment, and I think that there's talk about them actively searching for a right-handed bat, which makes no sense to me now at this point. You could have freaking Ohtani come in the lineup or Big Papi come back in his prime, and you wouldn't fix the whole thing because one bat's not going to fix everything that's wrong with them. So my hope is that they blow it all up, and again, they have a possible lockout situation coming with the salary cap and whatnot next year. So they're not going to get a big right-handed bat and take on a $30 million contract when they're going to possibly have a worker stoppage. So fine, finish in last place again for the 5th time in 6 years. I don't care anymore. I'm fine with it.
Are you done now? Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
You on the road?
We're done. All right. So we want to talk Celtics. Do you want to talk about? This is time's running out. Do you want to talk about Jaylen Brown or Anthony Davis?
I didn't even realize we didn't talk about the Celtics, but the Celtics not playing, so we don't have to make this long at all.
How about we talk about Anthony Davis, since that's the trade he wants to trade out of Washington. We had a little bit of back and forth about whether the Celtics should try to get him or not. There's all kinds of scuttlebutt about, he's too injured, he's brittle. Well, they had Porzingis. They had the same issue. He helped them win a championship. Now, if they were to get him, though, I'm assuming we would prefer that they add him and not trade Jaylen Brown to get him.
Well, the way they can get him is if they have to trade Sam Hauser and one other person, and that other person might be Derek White. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah, and the guys that they have on the bench could easily step up in their place. The thing that you would be losing is the defensive presence of Derek White. You're not losing any. Derek White isn't. He's been declining on the offensive side of the ball. But on the defensive side of the ball is what you're losing. You know what I mean? And maybe you get Hugo Gonzalez to step up in that place because Hugo he's gonna make a huge jump. You know what I mean? Maybe the Harper was Ron Harper Jr. Is it Ron Harper Jr.?
Yeah, Ron Harper Jr. Yeah.
Maybe he steps up because Ron Harper Jr. is very good, very, very good. I don't know if he's a defensive guy like that, like what you obviously have with Derek White. But you got guys coming off the bench who are easily going to step into the place. I would make the trade for Anthony Davis for Sam Hauser in a second. You know what I mean? I'm a little leery about Derek White because I love Derek. I think Derek White he's phenomenal. And I would really like to see how he plays at the beginning of this season before you trade him, because he could be turning around the corner. He might just had a bad season. You know what I mean? But if he starts out shooting bad again, then I think he's going to be declining for the rest of his career. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
But I don't know if they can afford to wait till the season starts to get somebody like Anthony Davis. They'd have to, and anybody big, to be honest with you, because they're trying to improve. They have to get another big guy. It's not a secret anymore. And I don't. They have to do it in the offseason. They can't wait till the season starts. And I agree with you. I like Derek White a lot, but his shooting was bad this year. And listen, it could have been anything. Nobody knows what's going on personally, or even when he's shooting. Injuries. They play through stuff. So I'm not here to beat him up.
No, I'm not either, but I think
it's a big problem though, because a lot of times Missoula was letting them shoot the threes, and it felt like we had Marcus Smart back out there. And I'm like, okay, you can't let this guy take 12 threes in a game. You got to limit him to like 3 or 4. They're not going in. Tell them to stop jacking them up. But I blame Missoula for that, not Derek White.
We're going to topic to topic again. Let's stick back on this other topic. The topic is right now, what would you do with Anthony Davis? And I think at the end of the day, they should go with Anthony Davis and not worry about coaching right now. Not worry about, because the way they're playing, I don't know if you noticed this, but in the NBA Finals, what's winning in the NBA Finals? What's making teams get? It's the guard play. That's the thing that you got to focus on. It's the guard play, and that's why I think that to stay on this topic, I think they need to focus on that, because the centers are offsetting each other. If that makes sense to you, you know what I mean? Like Wemby's not playing the greatest, but he did help them get there. But the San Antonio guards are phenomenal, and so aren't the New York Knicks guards are phenomenal. And they're stealing the ball well, they're shooting well, and they're playing great defense. You cannot win an NBA championship if your guard play is poor. You just can't do it. So I don't know.
So that means they can't trade Derek White, really.
That's why I said I'm nervous about Derek White.
You can't do that. You can't do that then.
Yeah, that's why I'm nervous about that. So
that definitely could be a concern.
Yeah. So let's move on so we can roll up out of here.
We need to move on to the poll questions. Let me find them. Give me 1 second.
You want me to pull it up? Poll questions. Will the AJ Brown rumors running around?
There you go.
Yeah. Brown him being traded to the Patriots. Do you think the Pats should give up a first-round pick for him? Yes. 100%. No, he's not worth it. That's hilarious. Everybody.
Well, the answer was yes, but 2028 only. That's why we had 100%. Maybe I should have put 2027 first rounder, 2028 first rounder, but
yeah, that's why
you make it simple. It's like, okay, yes, but only 2028 only. It implies that you're not giving up 2027.
Yeah, what's the other poll question?
The other one is, do you think the Patriots gave up too much for AJ Brown? We had 20% yes and 80% no.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
All right. Now here's where you get to make fun of me again, because my predictions were all wrong again as usual last week, since you weren't here. I said the Patriots get the A.J. Brown deal done, but it would take a day or two. Wrong. Freaking 4:30 comes through. So that was wrong. I said Patriots would sign Christian Gonzalez last week. Wrong. That didn't happen. And then I said, you're going to laugh at this. I said the Red Sox were going to send Caleb Durbin and Greg Wiesert down to Worcester last week. Wrong and double wrong because they didn't send either one of them down there.
Well, for the record, the Red Sox should send the whole team down to Worcester.
Well, basically, they are basically 4A team if you want to label it that way. So, strike three wrong. What else is new?
So, what are your new predictions this week?
Of course, I don't have any ready. So while you do yours, let me think of a couple because I'm drawing blanks right now.
Okay. Prediction for the Celtics. I don't think there's going to be any move with the Celtics until after the finals is over. I don't think they're going to do anything. And I don't even think they're going to pay attention to that. I think the Red Sox are going to start winning a couple of games because I think people are going to be fooled by the wins. I think they're going to win a couple of games. I think they're going to be above 500 between now and next week when we come back on. Let's see. The Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to make a move. I want to say a big move. I think, matter of fact, I'm going on a limb. I think they're going to bring back Stephon Diggs.
I just wrote that down here. Okay, I'll take that out.
Yeah. Well, no, you can keep it. I think they're going to get Stephon Diggs. I think that's what, and that's it. I don't think the Bruins are going to do anything between now and next week.
They're not going to do anything.
No.
Okay. I say the Patriots make a surprise cut that we don't see coming.
Yeah, they do that every year.
Right. And I say the Red Sox get swept by the Yankees coming up starting tomorrow night. they're gonna get their ass handed to them, I think. And I'm rooting for that. I'm actively rooting for them.
You know what the funny thing is? I think it's going to be complete opposite. I think because the Yankees are overlooking them, I think they're going to beat. I could be crazy, but I think they're going to beat them. I think they're going to win the series.
Frank, do you realize the Red Sox record at home is 10-21?
Yep, I do.
It's their worst record since 1932.
And I think that too. Yeah, but I'm going on a limb. I think I'm going on a limb. I think they're motivated to prove everything and everybody wrong because everybody's picking against them and they're having some. Look, listen, I've been listening to the radio and listening to what these guys are talking, and they're having some kind of moment going on behind the scenes. So, what could be starting to turn them around is winning the series against the Yankees. Now, they could easily get smashed by at least 10 runs per game. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened either. But, every bad team, when they start turning things around, something happens to be the catalyst to help them turn around. So that's my take. Yeah. So.
I hope you're right because I don't see it. Not the way they're going. It's sad that what the problem is too, and this happens every year. The pitching starts out good, the hitting sucks. Now the hitting starts hitting a little bit, the pitching sucks. They have not had a chance for both to mesh at the same time and put together 5 out of 6, 8 out of 10. And I don't see it coming.
Honestly, they don't have the manager to help them with that because right now they got a manager who's not that good either. So,
well, he's learning on the job.
Yep,
that's not his fault.
I might as well have me manage the Red Sox. I probably would have been just as good. You know what I mean? What are you laughing for? I could guess just like he could guess.
I'm laughing because either one of us could do that job and help him out and make it better.
But you know what? He's guessing, so we could both guess. If you're going to guess, why not get me? I mean, you know what I mean? In actual fact, I'm going on the Red Sox website and apply for the job.
Listen, you apply for the manager job, and I'll apply for the GM job, the CBO job, Craig Breslow's job, since 10 other people didn't want it.
And I said, you know what? Give this guy, the schmuck Steve, the job. What the hell is he got? He can't get any worse. Can't get any worse. Well, you know what? If we turned it around, we'd be the bat. What was that movie? Wild Thing? What was that movie?
Wild Thing.
Yeah, we'd be that movie.
That would be funny as hell.
It would be. All right, Steve, we got to go out of here because now I'm trying to get my food. So
sounds good. All right, so let me get rid of this.
See you guys.
We'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Thanks for voting in the polls. Be sure to catch us on YouTube, and we'll see you guys next week.